Hey, what's good, guys? It's Oakley. We're going to be going through a couple of the images here that were released. These are going to be basically city views of the main cities that are going to be mapped out. So we're going to start off with Babylon here. Now, I know you guys want me to comment on what I think of the images, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, Babylon, as for its historical authenticity, I can't really place it. I don't know too much about Babylon itself, but of course, Babylon is home of the Hanging Gardens, one of the 7 wonders of the world. And now, I don't think we can see it here, but you can see a lot of the gardens here. It looks cool. It's more outdoorsy, and they have this large gold-plated obelisk, it looks like, in the center, and a lot of room to maneuver. And that's something you're going to see in all of these videos, or at least all of these images I should say, is that there's room to maneuver. So they have to balance historical authenticity with the maneuvering possibility. So they make these large avenues, open space. It's not as crowded as it would be, but you know, it still looks cool. And as I said again, there are going to be 5 cities that are going to be fully mapped up. The rest are going to be randomly generalized, but the 5 ones are going to be Babylon, Rome, Carthage, Athens, and Alexandria. So let's go ahead and go to the next image. So this is going to be Alexandria, and you can see the port here, and I think that's the lighthouse of Alexandria, the Pharaoh's lighthouse. So anyways, Alexandria, as you can see here, is going to be a port city with a big naval harbor. Now, the Navy was a huge part of Egypt. It was a big trading area. A lot of trade went through Egypt, and it's what made them rich. Now, if you were to visit Alexandria today, you would not see this part of the city. It was basically submerged in the waters. They've done recent excavations to go and find, sort of reclaim part of this stuff, but it's all underwater, so you wouldn't be able to see it. Anyways, Alexandria was actually founded by Alexander the Great, so that's why it bears his name. And Alexandria, because it was founded as a city, sort of with intent, and later on it wasn't like, you know, a small settlement that developed over time. It had more structure to it. It was basically made in the Hellenistic view of how cities should be made. So large avenues, all was regimented. It had a grid structure. Very well done city. It was supposed to be a very, very beautiful city. And Alexandria was notable for its the way the rulers there decided to bring in different scholars and promote the arts and stuff like that, the Library of Alexandria and all that stuff. So Alexandria was a great large city, and it was one of the largest cities in the Western Hemisphere after Rome. So, you know, here's Alexandria, and you can even see some of the large Egyptian vessels in the forefront. Egypt is going to have a pretty good navy. You can see here there's various beaches where if you were to attack the city, be it in a port battle or with ship reinforcements, you can sail in and out of the city. So that's going to be another way to breach the city, which I think is always another cool feature that they're throwing into the game. Now, the next one is going to be Athens. So Athens, you can see here, some people were complaining about how historically accurate it is, whatever, but I'm glad you can see here Athens, of course, symbolically. You can see the main Acropolis over there. It looks great, it looks awesome. Now, Athens itself, you can see the high walls of Athens. That would have been important during the Peloponnesian Wars, where the Greeks were fighting each other, and it should have been Athens against Sparta and her allies. And basically, the tactics of Athens was high walls and the fleet. And that's kind of what they invested in. They put a lot of walls around their city, and they had their fleets, and that's where they had their advantage, because of course when it was sort of man-to-man, they couldn't really beat the Spartans, so they took refuge behind their walls. Athens itself would have been much more crowded than this, so that's where some people are having issues. But again, you know, guys, they have to allow troops to move and maneuver, and they've had to compromise for gameplay. But again, I think it does look cool when the high walls of Athens are here. They would have been destroyed after the Spartans and their allies won the war, but here, of course, they've been rebuilt, because in the time of the Romans, the Greeks would have, you know, rebuilt their walls and would have to fight against each other and the Romans, so, you know, you could expect those walls to be back up and running. So in any case, it looks cool. I'm not sure if you can go up the stairs in the background. I'm guessing that's sort of all off limits. It would be cool if you could defend yourself up there, kind of like how the Delphic Oracle foretold that the Greeks would be able to, oh man, I can't remember what the oracle said, but it was something about taking refuge behind the wood or something like that. And so when the Persians were invading, some of those Greeks took that to be that they had to hide in the temple up there and sort of wall it off, and they had a last stand up there when the Persians finally came through and burned the city. But later it was interpreted that the wood that you would have to hide behind, I can't remember what it's called, damn, you guys are gonna have to remind me, but it ended up being translated to where they would eventually win at Salamis with their fleet. Now let's go to the next one. So this is going to be Carthage. Carthage itself, we've seen before in the battle. You can see the naval harbor. Carthage was a huge city, of course, later destroyed, but you can see here, very, very huge city. They're a big maritime navy, so you can see the naval harbor there with the rounded thing. That was sort of off limits to normal civilians. That was where they had the naval harbor. They had huge docks where they could build all this stuff. The walls were very large, the temple at the top, And also, I'm not sure if you can see it in this image here, but I've read that the city of Carthage itself would actually have double-storied stables in some places, different areas to house their war elephants. They had huge stores of armor and weapons and all this stuff. So, you know, I'm glad to see the city of Carthage fully fleshed out. Now, of course, there's not much contemporary evidence to see how the city would have been laid out besides some archaeology, you know, some dig sites that they've been able to do on the site, and sort of accounts of the city. But in any case, I love what they've done with the city. And that's going to leave us basically with Rome next. Rome, you can see here, taking a look at it, it looks very cool, looks awesome with the aqueduct and the Colosseum, of course. Now again, you know, the wide open areas for the streets to allow maneuvering. Rome would have been very, very dense, and actually, Rome was actually a pretty ugly city early on. As I said, you know, with Alexandria that was founded later with intent, Rome was not. It was basically a small group of cities on various hills. Here I don't really see the Palatine or the Aventine, any of those hills, so I'm guessing those will make an appearance. But anyways, as I was saying, it was basically a small number of villages that accumulated together, and then Rome expanded over the years. No real intent behind it, and it was a very, actually pretty ugly city with a lot of slums, and some of the buildings would have been multi-tiered apartment buildings. The city was prone to fires. It really wasn't very well built till later on in actually the rule of the emperors, and when the empire had a lot of money and they started reinvesting in the city, and particularly during Nero's reign, when there was that fire that destroyed most of Rome, that's when they were basically able to rebuild it a lot from scratch and really give it that feel that we know and love, and that would be more represented in this image right here. But anyways, you know, I'm excited to delve into these highly detailed cities, explore the forum, explore the different areas, and really get to live in the period. So that's going to be it for now. I have more videos coming out, some more news, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time, and I'll put the link in the description for the images. See ya.